Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Are we on? Are we on? I hope so. Oh yes, I'm ready to go. I've just had a cup of coffee and now you can fire me out of that cannon. Yes, here we go. Kaboom! It is a Sunday afternoon. It is English in your ear. Yes, here we go again. Hi, everybody. My name is Mr. Duncan. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I really, really hope so. Yes, once more we are live across the World Wide Web. However, I did try to tell my Facebook friends that I was about to start my live stream, but sadly, today, the whole internet is broken. It's official. It's breaking news. The whole of the internet has stopped working. For example, Facebook isn't working at the moment. Also, Instagram has stopped working as well. So it looks as if the whole of the internet has actually broken. Can you believe it? So maybe YouTube is the only thing that still works on the internet, because everything else has broken down. So I hope you are fine on this day. I am going to say something now. I have to tell you straight away, I didn't sleep very well last night. I really had a terrible night's sleep. And if there's one thing I love doing before my live stream, the night before my live stream, I always like to get a good night's sleep. But sadly last night, because Mr. Steve was away, I was very restless. I was tossing. I did a lot of tossing last night in bed. And because of that, I didn't sleep very well. So I was turning over. I was very restless. Mr. Steve wasn't there to stroke my head and tell me that everything is all right, to keep the ghosts and the ghouls away. But Mr. Steve has come back. He was away over the weekend. He went away to see some friends and he was celebrating one of their birthdays. Now, the reason why I didn't go is because, well, first of all, I wasn't invited. Can you believe that? They didn't invite me. I am such a fun person to be with at parties. Okay, maybe not. But the other reason why I didn't go is because I had to be here to do the live stream. But in the end, I might as well have gone. I should have gone, really, even though I wasn't invited. I was planning on gate crashing their party. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gate crashed a party? Have you ever gone to a party that you weren't invited to and you've turned up there? I wonder if you can gate crash a wedding. I wonder if you can go to a wedding and actually be there, but you have nothing to do with the actual wedding. Here's something I used to do. I used to turn up at funerals. I used to gate crash funerals because what I would do, I'd go to the funeral and I would hang around during the service. And afterwards, and this is the reason why I did it, you always get free sandwiches and a little slice of quiche after a funeral. And we call that the wake. Wake. So the wake is the meeting, the meeting of people, the families and friends of the person whose funeral you've just been to. So if you can gate crash a funeral, it's a very good thing to do because afterwards there's lots of lovely free food. That's the reason why I do it. I hope you are feeling good today. Oh, would you like to see some spring shots? Yes, springtime has arrived here in the UK. Oh, look. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I know. Oh, some lambs in late spring. Isn't that absolutely lovely? Oh, my goodness. Beautiful shots of the lambs and also the sheep near my house. Now that particular shot was from last year. Now here is something that I filmed 2 days ago. So this is actually 2 days ago outside my bathroom window. So this is now a recent video clip of the sheep at the back of the house. Yes, they returned last week. Just in case you didn't catch last week's live stream, the sheep are now back behind the house, and there they are. You can see there is one sheep that is very different from all the rest. Can you see the black sheep? Well, actually, I think it's a brown sheep. There is a brown sheep in the field, along with lots and lots of white sheep. And you can see they are grazing. I love that word, graze. So if you graze, it means you feed from the land. And you will often see animals in the field grazing. Some people also use that term when people are eating. So some people might joke that they are grazing, especially if they are eating vegetables or health food. So they might say that they are grazing as well. So to graze is a verb. You graze. You eat from the land, quite often referring to animals. And there they are, the sheep at the back of the house. So this was filmed a couple of days ago. And the weather has been quite nice. Shall we have a look in the garden? Because we do have a live camera in the garden set up. So here is the view right now outside. This is a live view looking into the garden. You can see everything is looking very colourful as spring continues. Yes, springtime is definitely here. It is now late spring. I suppose you would describe this time of year is late spring. So we are coming now towards the end of springtime and summer is on its way. Although having said that, this morning it was freezing. I woke up in bed and I was so cold for various reasons. And then I went downstairs and I put the heating on and then everything was okay. And Mr. Steve has returned from his party that he went to yesterday. We will be talking all about that later on because Mr. Steve will be here in around about 20 minutes time. There he is, Mr. Steve, doing his Keep Fit. And it is a Sunday. It's a fun day. It's time to improve your English listening. It's a Sunday. I hope you're having a great weekend. And I hope that my live stream will make your weekend go a little bit better. So let's take a look at the live chat, shall we? Because the live chat is very busy already. I can see that lots of people are waiting to say hello on the live chat, and you are more than welcome to join in as well. So let's take a look. Let's see who is on the live chat right now. I wonder who was first. Let's have a look, shall we? Who was first on the live chat? Oh, hello to Gosia. Gosia, hello to you. You are first on the live chat. Can I say congratulations? And I suppose I should give you a round of applause. Very nice. So well done, Gosia. You are first on the live chat. Also Kaiba, Lilia, Malinoa, also Shirin, Chris, Yes, Hong, also Julie G. Hello to Julie G. How are you on this Sunday? Kaiba says, hi Lilia, isn't that nice? I like it when everyone says hello to each other in the live chat. Belarusia is also here. Hello to you, and thank you for your message during the week, letting me know how your mother is. So I'm glad to see or hear that she's feeling better. She is on the road to recovery. I will send her my best wishes right now. Duha says hi. Mika, watching in Japan. Also we have Anasol Lokosi. Anasol Lokosi. I love your name. It's not easy to say. Mr. Bruno, hello, we are together again. Regards from Switzerland. A big hello to Switzerland. Also a very beautiful country. Yes, we are together again. Hitcham is here. Also, apparently in Poland this weekend, it is Easter weekend. So it is Easter this weekend in Poland. Now here, Easter is next weekend, as I understand it. I think it's actually next weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it the end of April? I'm not sure. But I think it's next weekend. So Easter here is not being celebrated today, but happy Easter to those watching in Poland. Also, Martha is here as well. Hello, Martha. Also watching in Poland. Stanku. Hello, Stanku. Hello to Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve. Yes, he is back. He went away yesterday. He was away overnight at a party. And I didn't go along because I wasn't invited. Can you believe it? How could you not invite me? I am always the life and soul of the party. A person who always has a good time. If you always have a good time at a party, then we call that person the life and soul of the party because they always have a good time. Hello everybody, Eleanor, also Chris. Yes, it is on the 21st of April, Easter Sunday. Oh, so it is next week. I was right. So next Sunday is Easter. We will be here, of course, next Sunday. So it is Easter Day. It is now official. Easter is next Sunday. And I will be here with Mr. Steve. No doubt we will be eating lots of chocolate. Lots of Easter eggs will be consumed next weekend. Beatrice, hello Mr. Duncan, and happy Sunday from Argentina. Thank you very much. Zineb, hello Zineb, watching in Morocco. Louis, also to Super Higitus. I like your name, Super Higitus. It sounds like some sort of superhero. I think it's a great name, by the way. Israel SA says hello. Hello to you as well. Jingxing Fang says hello to you. Mr. Duncan, thank you very much. And hello to you. Where are you watching? Are you in China or Hong Kong? Or maybe you are here in the UK. Yes. Many people from overseas live in the UK and also study in the UK as well. Maris or Marius says hello from Poland. Lots of people on Poland today. I will just approve that message. Facebook is not working apparently, according to the news anyway. A lot of people on Twitter were panicking because Facebook and Instagram weren't working. Do you ever go on Instagram? Now, I used to post pictures on Instagram, but I realised two things. I realised, first of all, that I'm too old to go on Instagram. Apparently, you have to be cute and young and good looking and sexy, and you have to always pout with your lips like this. This is what you do when you're on Instagram. You have to do this. You have to pout with your lips. So I haven't posted any photographs on Instagram for a long time because I started to think that maybe I'm too old for Instagram. Mr. Bruno says, I like gate crashing at weddings. They have always good finger food. So when we say finger food, it means food you can pick up, normally from a buffet. So normally there will be a lot of food laid out and you can actually pick the food up with your hands. So we often call that a buffet, or sometimes we call it a finger buffet. It means you can pick the food up easily with your fingers. So yes, gate crashing. Have you ever gate crashed a party? I think in my life I've gate crashed a couple of parties. But the one to really gate crash are funerals. Because here in the UK we have a great ceremony or tradition of going to someone's house or maybe a hotel or a pub, and there is lots of food laid on. So all you have to do is go along to the funeral, look sad for a while, and then you can say that you're, I don't know, a distant friend or a distant relative, and no one will know. And then afterwards they will go and have what they call a wake. And then there's lots of food on offer. You can eat as much as you want. But you do have to make sure that you find out some information about the person whose funeral it is, because someone might come up to you and ask you some questions. So, how long have you known Bob for? Well, me and Bob, we go back a long way. In fact, we knew each other as children. Well, that's strange because Bob didn't move to the UK with his family until he was 30. So how did you know him as a child? Well, we used to communicate as pen pals. We were pen pals for many years. We used to write to each other. So you have to think very quickly. So if you are going to gate crash a funeral, make sure you find out some information about the person whose funeral it is, because someone might catch you out and then they will throw you out the door. Very embarrassing. It's only happened to me twice. Pout with my lips. Yes, you pout with your lips. You put your lips together. We can also say purse. You purse your lips. Purse. Pout. You try to look very voluptuous and sexy, just like they do on Instagram. Abbas says, hello, Mr. Duncan. I will study aviation and AI, and I have learned English from your lessons, but I don't know what to say. Oh, I don't know what to say. You are the best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to you, Abbas, for saying Hello, thank you. That's very kind of you. Also, we have Diana. Diana, hello, Diana. Is it your first time watching in Peru? Nice to see you here today. It's live English on a Sunday afternoon. And my name is Mr. Duncan, and I'm very pleased to be here today. It's very nice to see you here on the live stream. Have you ever met an ugly baby? Now, this is something that I want to mention today. Now, we're going to talk about a few strange social issues today. I wanted to mix things up slightly by talking about some unusual topics. Have you ever met proud parents who want to show you their baby? So maybe they say, oh, you must come round next week and see the baby. You must come and see the baby. We've just had a baby. And we want you to come and see it. And then you go round to the house and then you take one look at the baby and it's really, really ugly. It's the ugliest baby you've ever seen in your life. What do you do? How do you react? Do you keep the horror inside and say something like, Oh, that baby is so cute. What a cute baby. What a lovely baby. Oh, she's so lovely. Oh, he's so cute. But really, inside you want to vomit. So have you ever met an ugly baby? I know it's a strange subject to bring up, but I think it's a good one. Sometimes I like to mix things up here on the live stream. Many people are on the live chat right now. Harbans says, hello everyone, love from India. Hello Harbans. And I know for a fact that I have a lot of people watching in India. A little bit later on, by the way, we are going to take a look at the top 10 countries that have been watching for the past week. So every week we are now going to take a look at the top 10 countries that are watching my videos during 1 week. So we will do that a little bit later on. I think my monitor is about to switch off. Don't you dare switch off. If you switch off, I will be very angry. How annoying is that? So that was very distracting. I have a very big monitor in front of me, and now it's warning me that the monitor is going to switch off in a moment, and I don't know why. It's rather distracting, to say the least. So it's Sunday afternoon, and lots of people are on the live chat. Also, Louis. Oh, hello, Louis. That's very kind of you. Louis says, if you say the baby is adorable, you might be a hypocrite. Yes, but also sometimes you can't be honest. Sometimes you want to say something and you want to be honest. It's gone off. Why has my monitor just gone off? I have no idea. That's very annoying. So that's just distracted me completely. There's nothing worse when you're doing a live program to have your monitor go completely blank suddenly. It's very distracting. Mr. Duncan, you are very elegant today. Really? I'm wearing my normal clothes. I'm wearing my white shirt and my tie, but today I'm wearing a waistcoat. Ooh, do you like my waistcoat? Yes. It looks very sophisticated. I look like I don't know, an office worker who is on the train going to work in the morning and they've taken their jacket off. So yes, I do look a bit like that. Appearance is not important, says Julie. Oh, is that in response to the Instagram question? Well, I stopped putting my photograph on Instagram because I thought I was too old. I'm too old for Instagram. It's only for sexy ladies and cute young men. It's not fair. Najuin is here. Did you see the black hole? Which one? I've seen a lot of black holes in my life. Oh, I see. You mean the one that was found in outer space? Ooh, yes. I saw the photograph, although I'm not quite sure if it is a black hole. It looks like lots of other things as well. But apparently it is a black hole. 52 billion light years away. Is it 52 billion or 52 million? I think it's 52 million light years away, the black hole that they found last week. And if you travelled there at the speed of light, it would take 52 million years to get there. That's incredible. My mind is now officially blown. I've met lots of ugly babies, says Sukat. The most ugliest in my family have become the nicest and pretty adults. Oh, it's like the old story of the ugly duckling. There is a story about a little duckling who was really ugly, and all the other ducks said, "You are so ugly. You are a very ugly duck." But apparently it wasn't a duck. It was a baby swan. So when the ugly duck grew up, it became a beautiful white swan, and all the other adult ducks were very envious because the swan looked so lovely. So there we go. Louis says, Mr. Duncan, you must go crashing a funeral. Oh no, Mr. Duncan, you must. Yes, well I do. I'm thinking of doing it next week. I know there are a couple of funerals taking place in the area, so I might go along because apparently sometimes some of the food. Oh, can I just tell you now, sometimes the food after a funeral is amazing. It's almost like, I don't know why, standing around being sad gives you a real strong appetite. It really does. Pedro says, I was a terrible baby. My nickname, the name given to me, was the baby monster. Is that true? What about now? Are you still a little monster? I wonder. Babies are all like puppies, says Ambrorio. They are all cute. I'm not sure about that. I've seen some really ugly babies in my time. But the problem is the parents always look so proud, don't they? They always look so proud and pleased with themselves. But you're thinking, that is one ugly baby. But you can't say that, you see. You have to be nice. You have to keep the mechanism, the cogs of society moving forwards. That's what you have to do. You have no choice. So we are now going to take a look at an excerpt from one of my full English lessons. And this is, what is it? It's taken from Full English number 16. And then after that, Mr. Steve will be here live as live can be. Do you ever find yourself stricken with shyness? Do you ever feel shy? Would you describe yourself as a shy person? It would be fair to say that we all feel a little shy from time to time. There are certain situations where shyness might affect you. Perhaps you are meeting someone for the first time. Even worse, perhaps you are about to meet many people who you don't know. They say that loneliness is a crowded room, and for a shy person, this is very true. We often equate nervousness with being shy. You might not know what to say in certain situations, which can lead to the appearance of being shy. A lack of confidence in certain situations can lead to an attack of shyness. We often position shy alongside awkward in a sentence. A shy person might be described as apprehensive, bashful, coy. retiring, and timid. A shy person might find themselves being accused of being antisocial or standoffish, as their silence can sometimes be misinterpreted as arrogance or conceitedness. I know this because it has happened to me. I can sometimes be quite shy in certain situations, which can lead to some people asking, "What's the deal with your friend Duncan? He won't speak to anyone. He seems a bit arrogant to me." No, I'm not being arrogant or stuck up or conceited. I'm just a little bit shy. That's all. Have you ever taken part in a contest or competition, and after the result or winner has been announced, you feel cheated? You find yourself thinking that perhaps the winner was chosen for a reason. Perhaps you felt that the competition was rigged or fixed. To rig something means to arrange a situation in such a way that the result is assured. To rig something is to cheat and fix a game or contest to go one particular way. For example, in a talent show, the winner might turn out to be a relative of one of the judges. This might lead people to think that the contest was rigged or fixed. In sport, a boxing match can be rigged so as to allow people to place heavy bets on the winner. One of the boxers taking part in the match is paid to take a fall so as to ensure that the other one wins. Almost anything can be rigged or fixed so as to give someone an advantage or a definite chance of winning. The world of English is indeed a fun and exciting place to be, but it can also be confusing for those learning the language. Some English words especially can create confusion and lead to mistakes being made. A good example of this confusion is the similarity between the words momentum and memento. They seem to be related, but in fact they are not. In physics, the word momentum relates to the quantity of motion of an object based on its mass and speed. That is to say, how heavy and how fast it can travel is related to the amount of energy it can create. This energy is classed as potential, which relates to what the object can do. For example, the weight and speed of a rolling rock will give you its potential energy value. The movement is its momentum. The force and thrust created is called impetus. Movement is impetus. Momentum can also relate to the driving force or impetus of a course of events, how one action or event can have an effect on other things. The size of the effect and how long it will last relates to its momentum. The discussion of a controversial topic will gain momentum as more people become involved. The word memento refers to an object that has been kept as a reminder of a past event. A memento is a souvenir. It is something that has been put aside as a treasured possession. A keepsake is a memento. A photograph taken at a special event can be a memento. Something bought during a trip to a particular place is a memento. So as you can see, the words momentum and memento are very different indeed. So they're demonstrating how different some English words can be from each other. Yes, it's Sunday afternoon and this is Live English in your ear. Yes, it is. Sunday, fun day, live English, Duncan, Steve, everybody, live chat, internet. What? What was that? I don't know what that was. Please don't ask me to explain any of what I just said. So, it is a lovely Sunday. I hope you're having a nice time. Just coming up to 22 minutes away from 3 o'clock already. Already 37 minutes has gone of today's live stream. It's going by so quickly, I don't know why. Sometimes, you know what they say? They say that, well, when you're having fun, time goes very quickly. I don't know about that. So, here he is. This is the guy who will definitely make time seem a lot slower than it really is. Yes, everyone, it's Mr. Steve.
Oh, Mr. Duncan, I've been gallivanting this weekend. Gallivanting.
Yes, sorry about that. So I'm ever so sorry, Steve. I forgot to put your microphone up.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mr. Duncan.
That's it.
How are you? I was just explaining to the viewers that I have been gallivanting this weekend. If we say we're gallivanting, it means we're off doing things, having fun, maybe doing something exciting, which I have been doing, Mr. Duncan. Do you want me to explain?
Well, first of all, can I just say something? I wasn't invited to your party. Why?
I went to a party. A friend of mine that we have a little group of people who all sort of ex-work colleagues.
Yes.
Who have left over the years. You see, I've been with this same company for 22 years.
Okay.
Over the years, you make friends with people, but they move on to other jobs. But a number of us have kept in touch. 5 of us have kept in touch because we were all in the same team together. And we meet up from time to time at significant events like people's birthdays, usually birthdays, or if we just want to meet up for a meal, normally at Christmas. And we do this quite regularly, and it's nice because you keep in touch with, you've got friends that you enjoyed working with and socialising with, and you can stay in touch with them. And one of my friends, it was their 50th birthday.
Okay.
So we decided as a surprise for her, we would all go and would treat her to a show because she likes going to see shows at the theatre, fun shows, and she grew up in the 1980s and loves 1980s music. So we went to see a show called Club Tropicana, which is, I think, quite a new show. I wasn't sure whether I would like it, but it was fantastic.
And of course, if I'm not mistaken, the show itself is named after a song that was a big hit for Wham in the 1980s.
Exactly. And it's sort of set in a hotel abroad. And it's just it was just a very fun show. All the songs, if you like songs from the 1980s, there were loads of them in there. Dance routines, funny dialogue. There was somebody who played the part of a waitress in this hotel, fictitious hotel, and she was hilariously funny, stole the show. We all had a good time. We were dancing in the aisles. It was great fun. So that's what I've been gallivanting, out and about doing things.
Where did you go?
Cheltenham.
Cheltenham
Now, Spa.
As I understand, Cheltenham is a very posh place. Ooh.
It's quite posh. I actually went to college there when I was younger.
You must have fitted in very well.
Yes, because we lived quite close to there. I was brought up quite close. So that Cheltenham is in Gloucestershire, which is an area of the UK, one of the shires. Gloucestershire, it's very countrified. Very posh. Lots of people with lots of money live in Gloucestershire. all the TV personalities and film people all sort of live in there around Chipping Campden.
Yes, Chipping Campden is the place where all the politicians, all the pop stars, all the football players, many wealthy people live around Chipping Campden.
And Chipping Norton. So if you don't want to live in London, or if you've got lots of money and you want to live in London, but you also want to live in the country, 9 times out of 10 they will go to the Cotswolds around Chipping Campden, Chipping Norton, or they might go to Cheshire if you're further up north.
There are some interesting words that you can use to describe an area like that. You can say that the area is very affluent.
Yes.
So an affluent area is an area that has a lot of wealth or a lot of wealthy people living there. Another one, which is more informal, is well-to-do.
Well-to-do. Yes, would you? Yes, you would still use that phrase, I think, but you would. But they're very, very wealthy people live there.
Yes.
The price of houses is probably double what it is here where we live in Shropshire.
Yes.
I would say, in fact, where we were staying at an Airbnb, so it's a bed and breakfast, but an Airbnb is where they're still living in their house, but they move out for the weekend and rent their house out for the weekend.
Yes, it's great. It's a great idea, though, so you can make a little bit of extra cash from your house.
Yes.
If you're going away for a couple of days, we're going away for a couple of days, we just rent the house out. Although I have heard some horror stories about it.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, there were 5 of us. We were very good. But yes, you could trash somebody's house like that. So they got £350 to rent it out. So they either went away to the weekend to stay with friends, or they could have just gone and stayed in a cheap hotel for the weekend and still made money out of it.
Yeah, or they were hiding in the attic watching you all.
They could have been hiding in the attic. Yes,
that would be great. That's what I would do. I think if I had an Airbnb that I rented out, I would not actually move out for the weekend. I would stay there, and I would set the house up as if it was haunted, and I would just scare everyone. So you could stay at someone else's house and pay for the weekend, but the real owners are still there, hiding in the loft or in the attic, and they're just pretending to be ghosts. So I think that'd be quite good. Have you ever gate crashed a wedding or a party, Steve?
No, I would never do that. I would be too nervous. And I know you've been joking about this gate crashing a funeral because you don't like funerals.
What? No, I love funeral food. See, we have to get this right. Now, you know this, Steve. I love food, and I love eating food, especially when the food is free. And there are some great ways of getting free food. One of them is to gate crash a party or gate crash a wedding. The wedding isn't so easy.
No.
It's not so easy to gate crash a wedding because quite often when you go for the food afterwards, all the tables have people's names on.
Well, it's difficult because if you go to a wedding, you've normally got to buy a present to go there, so there is not much return on your investment really. You might get a free meal, but you've got to pay to go. Whereas you could go to a funeral, because anyone can go to a funeral. Yeah. Because you can just say, that you knew that person, and you're not going to be thrown out of the church when there is or the crematorium. If there's going to be a service for somebody, you could just pretend you knew them and then tag along, find out where they're having the wake afterwards. The wake, and don't just you think, have some free.
Yes,
you could do. You could make a living out of that.
Okay, I'm talking, Steve.
Well, I haven't finished.
The general rule is if the presenter, the host, says something, just a bit of that.
It's all about you, isn't it, Mr. Duncan?
It's just studio etiquette.
Well, I hadn't finished my sentence.
Yes. Well, you have now.
Over. Shall I say that when I finish my sentences? I'll say, "Okay, Mr. Duncan, I'm coming to the end now. Over."
Yes. Okay. Over. So, but the thing about gate crashing funerals, the thing that we were actually talking about is that isn't it strange that they call the thing afterwards wake. When you've just buried a dead person, you call it the wake.
Well, there must be an origin to that word.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the after effect. So in this sense, I think it means the after effect or the result of the occurrence. So you can say in the wake of something. So I think it's actually used in that sense. I'm not sure entirely.
You think, but I don't know.
Well, well, we all think. That's why we have brains.
We're supposed to be giving facts here, Mr. Duncan.
Okay, well, it doesn't always have to be. You know, an idea or a thought doesn't have to be factual.
Lots of comments about the babies. In fact, people are complimenting each other.
Oh.
Somebody's saying that Pedro looks handsome. Somebody else said somebody else looked good looking as well. So you've created a bit of a stir there, a bit of interest.
Okay.
In what people are saying, which brings me on to another point, that we were having a discussion about the way parents are bringing up children now in the UK. And I'm not saying it's all parents. But
it's not just the UK.
No, well, I can't comment on other countries. Really, because I don't know. But we had this discussion started about gender and all this sort of thing. And somebody said that they were seeing a friend of theirs, and they've got a young daughter, I think about 8 years old, and they happened to say, "Oh, doesn't your daughter look pretty?" And the parent was offended at this comment and said, "I'm sorry, but I object to you saying that my daughter looks pretty, because those are phrases we don't like to use to our daughter, because that's pigeonholing her when she's growing up in terms of thinking that she is just going to be judged on her looks, or she'll only get jobs because of her looks or because she's a girl." And this really started a big debate amongst the five of us, because I mean my argument was that, well, presumably the child was happy to be dressed the way she was, so the parent didn't force this daughter, 8-year-old daughter, to dress in that way. Presumably the child herself had some say in it, so in which case, how would you describe the way your child looked if she was happy to be dressed in that way? So there are only certain ways of describing the way somebody's dressed. And if a girl has her hair neat and she's got a nice dress on, you would automatically say that she looked pretty. You wouldn't say, what other word would you use? And apparently you're not supposed to use any words. You're not supposed to comment.
Yes.
Because of you might be pigeonholing. That child might think, oh, somebody said I was pretty, that means I must be a girl, and that means I can only get jobs based on my looks.
Yes,
well, that's ridiculous to assume the child would form those thoughts.
Steve, we're not here to spout.
But anyway, that's the way it's going.
Okay, that's good. Well, actually, what you're actually talking about is gender stereotyping.
Gender stereotyping.
That's the phrase that people use nowadays. So it's become a very political thing, especially with pronouns, and the way you address a person of any age, in fact. So don't forget, it's not just children we're talking about here. It's human beings of any age.
Sorry, Mr. Duncan. Interestingly enough, somebody there who was amongst the group of people, that the friends that I was with, was sort of agreeing with this argument. But she herself has 3 boys of varying ages. I think the eldest is 14. And I said, well, if somebody came up to you and said, "Oh, doesn't your boy look handsome?" would you be offended? And of course she thought, "Oh no, I'd quite like that actually, if they thought that my son looked handsome."
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow.
So it seems that it's I don't understand. Am I out of touch here? Am I out of touch? I mean, I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but I would have thought that a child looking nice and attractive would like the compliment, or the parent would like the compliment. And I wouldn't have assumed that child would then grow up forever remembering that one comment and be pigeonholed, because everyone's got children growing up now. As long as the parent supports the child in whatever they want to do in life, I can't see what the problem would be. But they were offended. Would you, as a parent, if you were parents watching now, if your child, somebody came up to you and said, "Oh, doesn't your daughter look pretty?" Would you be offended by that? And would you say, "No, I don't want you to say that to my child because that is stereotyping her appearance"? I don't know. I've started something now, Mr. Duncan. Am I out of touch?
I think you've started something, but now you're going around in circles a bit with the actual theme, because the thing is, should you be saying that anyway about someone's child?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't, but I wouldn't. But I don't know if you're friends with that, but you wouldn't go up to somebody randomly in the street and say it. But if you were meeting on a social level, and it was a friend, and I'd known for a long time, and they got a daughter, or I don't know, but maybe women can say it, maybe men can't. It's a minefield now. We've got to be very careful what we say and do to people, or in case we offend somebody or are judged as being unsavoury characters. It's very difficult. I think the only answer is you just say nothing now about anyone. You don't make any comments about anyone.
Well, what I'm thinking is, what age can you actually make a comment about someone's son or daughter? So if it's a little baby in a pushchair or a pram, you can go, "Oh, hello, goody, aren't you lovely? Your baby is so cute." But what if the child is sort of 8 or 9? Can you still say that? Can you still say, "Oh, your daughter is so cute," or "Your son is very handsome"? Yes. And then what about when they're 15 or 16? So what is the age where you can no longer comment on the appearance of someone's child? So there is a point where it's very cute and lovely and it's a nice compliment, but then after a certain age it becomes very creepy.
Yes, it could be. I think, men wouldn't normally make those comments, but this was a woman that was making the comment to her friend's daughter. So you would have thought that wouldn't have been seen in a sort of creepy way.
Oh, I see.
But of course, it's so difficult now. It's best to say nothing. It's best to say nothing.
So from that, all I get from that is only men molest kids. I think women do as well. I think you can have creepy ladies.
But what are people saying? Am I out of touch?
I don't know. Well, yes.
Yes. Sometimes keep quiet, says Lilia. Yes. Yeah, the other thing is, if people like compliments, don't they? So if you don't get a compliment, if you had a child that was very attractive and he or she never got any compliments because they were told you must never make any reference to my child's appearance, would that person grow up feeling inadequate in some way and psychologically damaged because they didn't get any reinforcement? Because you need positive reinforcement, don't you? I would have thought, about your appearance.
Again, I think it's all about context. So maybe parents can say things to their child and say, "Oh, you did well today. Oh, you look lovely today. Oh, you look so handsome. Oh, aren't you growing up quickly? You look lovely today." So the parents can say that. I think that's okay. But it's when it's people outside the parental sort of zone, I think then it starts to become a little odd and creepy. So my advice would be not to say anything at all. Lilia just said, I love this question. Lilia just asked, is it okay to make a compliment or a comment about a child's intellect? I'm not sure. I've never heard anyone go up to a child and then address their parents at the same time and say, "Oh, your child looks very clever. Oh, what an intelligent child you have."
But the child might say...
You wouldn't go up and say, "Your child looks a bit stupid."
The child might say something that would lead you to believe that he or she was quite intelligent or clever. So you might. I mean, that's positive feedback, isn't it? I don't know. Apparently, the rule now, according to all my friends, and they know more than me because one of them works in a doctor's surgery, another one works in a school. So apparently, the rule of thumb is you just don't make any comments anymore about anyone else's children, and you as parents don't make any comments either. So I don't know. And the other interesting fact I learned apparently from one of my friends who works in a school, and another one that works in a doctor's surgery, is that the number of children now, young children between sort of 8 and 14 with psychological problems is just massively increasing. Probably not just in this country, and that they're having counsellors, and a lot of it is they think is down to social media. We touched on this last week, I think.
Surprise! Let's blame the internet.
But we didn't when we grew up. I've never even heard of any child, any friend having any psychological problems or any issues with their gender. Where's this all come from, to Mr. Duncan? In 40 years, everything's changed dramatically. I don't understand it, I'm afraid.
But you're again, it's a bit of a thin ice situation, because there are many things 50 years ago that people didn't talk about openly, but they did exist, if you get my meaning. So 50 or 60 years ago, certain things weren't talked about. They were seen as bad and awful.
They were.
So I think it's more about the changes of attitudes, and I think also old farts like you and me, we don't accept these things very easily.
Life is very complicated now. It was very much more black and white when we grew up.
It wasn't. Do you remember how many wars were going on around the world when you were growing up?
Well, I'm on about issues of gender and things like that. I mean, it was when we grew up, boys were boys, girls were girls, and there was no crossover.
Yes.
And I understand that obviously there are people who feel that they may have been born male or female, but they don't associate with being that gender, and that's perfectly fine. But yes. So, but I don't understand what's wrong with making a compliment towards somebody. But maybe it's because they're worried that maybe they think you're a paedophile. I don't know.
Yes,
maybe
but
that's it.
Well, we're going around in circles now. That's what I've just said. Just don't make Just don't make comments about people's kids when you're with them.
Well, that's it. Jeff makes a comment here. There were very few overweight children when we grew up, but now there are far more overweight children because they're staying indoors more, because they can't go out because of the risk of people pinching them off the streets and
child theft,
child molestation. Parents are afraid to let the children out.
Yes, okay.
I'm in one of those moods today. Somebody's mentioned about the black hole. Let's change the subject.
Yes, well, we're going to talk about Mr. Steve's black hole. I don't know what that's about in a moment, because now, well, yes, it is coming up to 3 o'clock. In fact, it's just gone 3 o'clock, and it's time. Yes, you know what's coming next. It's time to take a look at those flags from around the world, whilst Mr. Steve and myself have a little lie down on the floor. some flags from around the world. It's a Sunday, it's a fun day, it's live English. Oh, get the oxygen. Oh, I love sometimes reading your messages, I really do, but sometimes they catch me out and I start laughing at them because I'm so surprised by what you write. I've just been asked if I'm Jewish. That's why? That might be the most random thing anyone has ever asked me in my life. Mr. Duncan, are you a Jew? I'm not Jewish. I'm not anything, in fact. I don't have any religious views, so...
Not that it would be a negative thing.
Sorry. Oh, Steve's talking now. Wait there a second. What did you say,
I was
Steve?
going to say not that it would be a bad thing anyway.
No, well, who said it was?
I know. Well, it's a interesting question.
Yes, okay.
I don't think that's particularly relevant.
Well, no.
To anything.
No, but sometimes people ask me if I'm religious, or some people ask me if I like football. Some people ask me if I ever go on holiday. So it's just a random question, but not one I've ever been asked before. You see, I've never been asked. Having said that, I used to work with a guy who was Jewish, and we used to have these long conversations in the afternoon. When there was a quiet period, we used to sit there and muse. We would muse about things in the world and subjects, and it used to be, I used to really enjoy it, but he would often bring up his point of view from his religious point of view, and of course I don't have any religion, so it was actually quite interesting, but quite often we would agree on many things, and that's the thing I always found quite interesting, is we talk together, but actually we would end up agreeing on many things. So there wasn't as much conflict as you would think.
Jeff says that you're uncut. Can we confirm that, Mr. Duncan?
Wait there, let me just check. Just a moment. I've just got to go and check.
Well, Mr. Duncan is checking, although he obviously should know. I mean, he's got quite an intimate relationship with that particular organ, as we all know. Well, Mr. Duncan, can you confirm whether you are cut or uncut?
I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah, definitely. I suppose...
you mean?
No, I know why. I know why Jeff said that.
I know.
I just realised.
Exactly.
I'm a bit slow today. Oh, I see. No, I'm not Jewish. Therefore, he is saying that I must be uncut.
But you could be American, because aren't most American men cut, no matter what religion they are?
That's right.
Is that not true, Jeff?
Can I just admit that I feel a bit uncomfortable talking about this?
Lewis says, why are there so many gods? Well, that is a very good question. And why are there so many religions? And why does each one claim that theirs is the only one? There are... How many religions are there? There's hundreds, I think, registered actual religions. There's only a few major ones.
Historically, there's thousands.
Historically, yes. So they all claim that they are the way to go and the only one you should follow. Of course, that is utter arrogance, isn't it?
Ooh,
and the
okay.
fact that you are born in a country where that particular religion is prominent is the only reason why you have adopted that religion. If you were born in another country, you could have had a different religion. I believe the answer is that they're all. None of them are right. None of them are actually true. But if you want to follow one, fine. But don't try and impose it on everybody else, because it's arrogant to believe that your religion is the only. You've got to open your eyes to the rest of the world. Oh, I'm being controversial today, Mr. Duncan.
So, just for the record...
Don't want to get you into trouble.
No, just for the record, there is Mr. Steve now on the screen. His name is underneath his face. All of those comments are attributed to Mr. Steve.
let's go back to Jeff. Yes, most are cut in USA.
Oh, for God's sake.
So we're going back. Let's go back to that one.
No. But how do you know, Steve?
Well, because I just asked Jeff.
No, but you... No. That.
Oh, yes. I know what you're saying. Yes. Well, I just happen to know. It's just general knowledge.
Just something that,
You know, name me a country in the world and I'll tell you whether the men are cut or uncut.
Did you play... Did you play...
Just something I happen to know.
Did you play a lot of, I don't know, American football?
I just happen to know. You know, you observe these things as you go through life.
You certainly do, apparently.
Latin Seduction says that Bolivia's flag wasn't there. Bolivia. So we'll have to address that deficiency.
Talking of countries, would you like to see a list of...
Sorry, Latin Seduction.
Oh, okay. Would you like to see a list of the top 10 countries that have been watching over the past week, Steve?
Go on. Top 10. Watching your programme.
Yes.
Watching your live streams.
Yes.
You've had a lot this week, haven't you? You've had a few live streams this week, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, I did a couple last week and also last Sunday as well. So let's have a look. There it is, the top 10. It's now on the screen. So you can see in order of the number. You can see at number 10. At number 10, it's Mexico. So at number 10, lots of people watching in Mexico. You would now. I don't mean to be sort of insultive or offensive, but I'm surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I'm surprised lots of people are watching in Mexico. So can I say a big hello to everyone watching in Mexico? And the reason why I'm surprised is just I thought maybe people in Mexico would be watching American English teachers rather than someone in England, you see. So that's the reason why I'm surprised. Also, number 9. Oh, number 9, the United Kingdom.
Shouldn't that be number 1, really?
Well, why? We speak English as our first language. I'm surprised it's at number 9. I can't believe that. So number 9, the United Kingdom. Number 8, and this is from the last week, by the way, the last 7 days. At number 8, Egypt. I know I have a lot of people watching in Egypt, so a big hello to Egypt. Also, number 7, Brazil. Lots of people in Brazil, such as Pedro. 6, Spain. Interesting. Number 6.
Espanol.
Yes, Spain. Isn't that interesting?
Or España.
And I suppose, not surprisingly, number 5, the United States. Again, you might imagine that there wouldn't be people watching English teaching in the United States because English is spoken as a first language. But there are lots of people learning English in that country as well. Number 4, Steve. Look, can you see number 4?
Russia.
Number 4 is Russia.
Oh, fabulous.
Wow. I'm overwhelmed. I can't believe it. So in the past 7 days, Russia have been watching and they are at number 4. The past 7 days. Number 3, I know I have a lot of viewers watching in Italy. Italy. Hello to Italy. And we might be quite close to you in about 2 months' time. We won't say what or where or how or who or how long. But yes, we might be very near. I'm giving some clues away now, Steve. Can you tell?
Sue Cat says that Argentina isn't in the list. But the thing with Argentina is that we have very loyal viewers.
Ah, yes.
Very loyal viewers, whereas some of the other countries may be not so loyal. And that's what we count above all. All else is loyalty. And Sue Cat, you are one of our most loyal viewers.
Yes, we have loyal viewers all around the world. But this is the top 10 from the past week. Number 2. India. Now, this is something that's been happening over the past 3 or 4 months. We have a lot of people now watching in India. So can I say a big hello to everyone in India watching? So this is over the past 7 days. And I suppose Is this a surprise? At number 1, who is surprised by this? Number 1, Vietnam. I know there are a lot of people watching in Vietnam. This has always been the case because in Vietnam, the young students are hungry for English. So there it is, the top 10 list from the past 10 days, the countries that have been watching my video lessons and my live streams the most. And we will do that again next week. So I hope that was interesting.
Is that number of people watching, or is that sort of hours watched in those particular countries?
That is hard numbers.
Hard numbers. So people watching then.
So actual people sitting down and clicking on their device or their computer, and they're watching that silly Englishman.
Lilia makes an interesting comment here about sort of the nature of religion, that atheists blindly believe in science, just as religious people blindly believe in well, Lilia uses the phrase bearded man sitting in the clouds, so in other words, a creator. So yes, it's very, we like to think that we don't think in terms of black and white, so it's either one or the other. We often get annoyed sometimes with people, even with the religious people, who stick doggedly to their religion is the only one you should adhere to and adopt. But atheists also can be just as annoying, because they think that there isn't a God. They're absolutely certain there isn't, and therefore you shouldn't believe in it. And they dismiss everything. You can't. Nobody knows for certain. Okay. Nobody knows.
But you do realise that even if you're religious, you're still an atheist, because you just don't believe in all religions except one. So I think it was Christopher Hitchens that said that everyone basically is atheist, but those that believe in one religion just don't believe in one less, which I always thought that was quite clever.
Can't understand that.
What? Well, that you don't understand what I've just said.
Well, you either believe in a creator or creator.
Yes, but you follow a certain religion.
Yes.
Sorry?
But all religions believe in a creator, don't they?
Yes, but that
probably.
Yes, I'm still having difficulty understanding. But we're on about religions, organised religions. Do I have to name them all?
No, but yes.
Okay.
I mean, there are many paths, aren't there, to what you want to believe in?
Okay.
And I think in a world, modern society, global world, we're all communicating with each other now. If you were brought up of a particular religion, then you probably will want to stick to that. If you want to believe in a creator, you'll probably want to stick to the religion that you know the most and the one you grew up with. But you just need to be aware that there are other people who also believe in a creator, but their religion is just a different way to the same thing.
Okay, then. But who are you talking? Really? But who are you addressing this to?
Oh, well, I'm just commenting generally.
Oh, I see.
And that way, if everybody can understand and not be dogmatic about their religion,
but that's the whole element.
Then we'll have peace in the world, won't we?
Yeah, but the whole element of every religion is dogma.
Well, that's the problem. Yes, that is the problem.
Okay, then.
So if everybody, which is why education is so important, which is what you're doing, Mr. Duncan.
Well,
if everybody is educated, everybody can then see everybody else's point of view and understand other people's religion and tolerance of other people's beliefs and religion, no matter what those beliefs are.
Okay.
And you don't want, and thus, if you understand other people and their beliefs, you will be less likely to want to take over their countries or force them into doing something.
But what if your religious teaching tells you to take over other countries?
Well, I know. Well, this is the problem, isn't it?
Yes. That's that. Well, dogma is just basically telling people to do something in a certain way. That's it.
But the only people that are actually doing this are the leaders, aren't they, of these countries or these religions. They're the ones who are deciding. The average person going to church, whatever church it might be, or temple, or wherever you go, is just getting on with their lives. But it's the leaders that incite everybody else into divide and conquer, isn't it? They pitting everybody else against another country or another religion because they've got their own agenda. They want their land, or they want something, or they could be just fanatical about their religion.
Yeah.
But if we all
sorry, did you just describe religious people as fanatical? Where's your common understanding and peace and tolerance?
No, I'm just saying if you understand everybody else's point of view, then you're less likely to be like that. You can say, oh yes, they're this religion, I'm this religion, they're that, but basically we're still believing in a creator.
Yeah.
But it's just over the centuries and thousands of years, that religion's grown up here, this religion's grown up here, that we don't need to hate each other. We're all basically believing in the same thing.
Yes.
But it's the leaders of these religions or these countries that end up going to war. They're the ones that create the problems because they're probably psychopaths.
Okay, then, so who's the Christian leader that's causing all the problems at the moment?
Well, I don't know if there are any.
Oh.
Well, I'm not going to go down naming names.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking historically.
Well, if it's historically, then it's just everyone.
Yes, well, the point I'm making is that if we all understand, we can all get along, can't we?
Yes, but that's never going to happen.
Because we allow psychopaths to leaders.
Yeah, I might have to.
Why.
Yeah, Steve, that's a strong word to use, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've read something about this.
Oh, you read it? Where was it? Was it on Wikipedia?
No, it's true. The problem, a lot of the problems in the world, when you think about it, no, people don't just decide en masse to go to war with another country. There is a leader somewhere that decides that they're going to do this, but they've got to persuade the rest of their population to all go to war and get shot and killed or whatever in the name of something. A group of people don't decide this on their own. One person decides, I want their land over there, or they've got something I want. Therefore, how can I get that? Well, I can't do it on my own, just me on my own. Let me persuade the rest of my population that those people in that other country are bad. Oh, they don't believe in what we believe in. They're very bad. We need to kill them. We need to destroy them or convert them to what we're doing. That's how religion has worked over thousands of years.
Yeah, you do.
And these people that do this are psychopaths.
Okay,
the people
Steve.
in charge.
Yes, imagine that.
Apparently, if we could identify in society children when they were young that they've got psychopathic tendencies and either cured them or put them away in prison or whatever, then we wouldn't get people like that in charge, and society and life would be a lot better.
So I'm losing the thread slightly.
We're really going off on a tangent today, Mr. Duncan.
We. Stop saying we. I'm not involved in this conversation. I'm just an innocent bystander.
Mika says, if you follow any religion, you must respect other religions, which is absolutely... And if we all do, then we'll all get on.
That's very lovely with your head in the clouds, but reality, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about imagine or fairyland. I'm talking about reality.
Well, I know. Reality isn't like that.
No. Well, reality is most religions teach intolerance to other religions because their religion is the right one. You do realise that. That's literally... wait there. I'm just... but that's what they say. Have you ever read the Bible? Have you looked in there? Have you looked at the Old Testament? It's pretty gruesome. Really, death to non-believers, death to these people, death to children, stone the disobedient child to death.
Yeah, but it takes a leader to decide that they're going to enforce all that.
Yes,
and then to incite the population, and the leaders could say, but
it's written down.
As I know it is. I know it's written down.
Nobody's inciting anything.
Well, they are.
If that was the case, any shop selling copies of the Bible should be closed down, because there's a lot of hateful incitement in most Holy Scripture, because everyone's taking their own point of view, their own side.
But Western,
there is no leeway. I'm not talking about now, today. I'm talking about what people see when they open their books and they go, oh, it says here that if there is a man down the road who likes other men, I should be able to kill him. But on the other page, it also says that I should be able to stone disobedient children to death. It says that as well.
Yes,
but they only follow the previous one and not the second one. So
cherry picking.
Yes, I know. Well, that's the point I'm getting to. They choose what they follow, but it's all in there. And so you can go through any book, any religious book, and on one page it will say one thing, but then you can turn the pages, and a few pages later it will say something that goes against the thing you read earlier. But the person decides to just look at one of those things, not both of them. And
yes.
Because of that, they act according to that one sentence or that one page, even though there is something else in the book that goes then in an opposite direction. So that's my problem. It happens a lot in the USA. So I'm not attacking any particular religion. I'm saying that in the USA you have fundamental Christians who are, and let's not beat about the bush, they are completely mad as a box of frogs. They are. There is no doubt about it. But they rationalise these things by opening that magic book.
But the point I'm making, Mr. Duncan, is that it's the things that they decide to focus on in their whatever the religious text is decided upon and manipulated by the leaders.
Yes.
That's what happens. They never read the whole book. They just pick out the things that suit them.
Yes.
And that's what the leaders that's what the religious leaders or the leaders of the country pick out and cherry pick in order to fulfill whatever their particular desires or goals are, or how whatever they want to do with that information. It's manipulation of information.
Yes, I really wish you hadn't brought this up.
Happening, but anyway, we're into religion.
No, you are. I'm merely joining in with your conversation.
What's the live chat doing? Has it gone into meltdown?
No, it's your conversation I'm joining in with, Steve. Let's just be clear on that.
Well, I'm just seeing what's on the live chat.
Live chat.
Pedro says, what a waste of time speaking about religion. You're absolutely right. It is a waste of time because we can't solve anything.
I didn't bring it up. So.
Right, let's move on to... I've got no words today because I've been away and I came back only an hour before we came live on stream, so I've got no words today, Mr. Duncan.
Okay then. But I started off today so upbeat and so happy, but now I feel slightly unhappy. So
what do you want to talk about, Mr. Duncan?
I'm talking now. I'm talking about something now. So this is now me talking about something. So what should we talk about while you're talking about something? I'm talking about something now, Steve. This is what I'm talking about now. I'm talking now about something.
Go on then.
Is there anyone still there? I started off today so upbeat, but then I realised also I hadn't slept very well last night. You see, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't sleep very well last night, Steve. And I woke up this morning, I felt dreadful. I really thought there was no way I'm going to be able to do today's live stream. But I managed to do it. I suddenly perked up, and I think it was because you came back. I was so happy to see you back. Although now I'm starting to wonder if that was a good thought or a bad one. Let's have a look at some photographs of Steve out last night. So come on, Steve, stay with me.
Let's liven the situation up.
Liven it. I don't know how we ended up in that. I don't know how we ended up in that position.
They say you should never talk about religion or politics.
Yes, that's what I normally say, but you brought the subject up.
All right, then we'll move on then.
You brought it up. I was trying. Did anyone notice that I was trying to move the conversation to another thing? But anyway. Whew.
You're taking your time.
Would you like to have a look at Mr. Steve last night? But there is something slightly different about Steve. God.
Which is me.
Well, which one is?
Before anybody asks, that is not my mother on the left. I got into trouble last night saying that.
Well, you kept saying it, didn't you? And these are your friends.
Well, we were supposed to be going out, you see. We were going to see this. We went to see this Club Tropicana.
Yeah.
So we all went out in fancy dress, dressing like we used to in the 1980s.
So that's how you used to dress in the 1980s?
Well, I used to have hair in the 1980s, so
okay.
That's why I put the wig on. So we all wore fancy dress. I don't normally go out like that. I repeat again, fancy dress.
I didn't know that people in the 1980s had hair. So having hair was a thing, was it, in the 1980s?
Well, I had it then. Because it was 35 years ago.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
So, yes.
Okay.
So that's my ex-boss on the left. I hope she doesn't mind me putting that picture on
for
the whole world to see.
Yes. Did she sack you?
No, she didn't.
I think she did. I think she sacked you. I just love the fact that you went there last night and all you did was spend the whole night insulting people. You kept saying that you had to get somebody else who was talking to you to guess which one was your mother. That's awful. That's an awful thing to say to women.
Well, because we all have a laugh and a joke at each other's expense. So we can take a joke, we can take a ribbing.
Oh, I see. A bit like us.
Yes, that's it. So, I mean, we were talking about religion. A few people think that we are upset. We're not upset.
Oh no, this is
just debate, discussion.
Well, this isn't real. You know, this isn't real life.
Well, it is. I'm here now. It's real.
Yeah, but it's on the internet, and that's the problem. This is the problem with a lot of people in the world, that they clearly can't tell the difference between something that is on the internet and is there as a form of discussion and entertainment and real life, which is like when someone robs a bank or murders someone on a street corner. You see that there is a difference between those two things. So this is the internet, you see, and this is what happens on the internet. So sometimes people just talk about things and have a bit of fun, and that's what we're doing, you see.
Pedro says, I'm cross-dressing. No, I was very much dressed as a man. I do not cross-dress.
Yes.
Oh, that I presume that was the joke. That's what my hair used to look like when I was in the 1980s.
Yes, but then Steve was talking about gender issues earlier, so maybe today there might be some revelation. Maybe Steve has a big announcement to make.
No, I haven't got any announcement to make.
Steve is going to tell us that he is a her, she. Ooh.
No, not at all.
Do you know what I am?
That is me as a man, not as a woman.
Yeah.
I haven't got a dress on. I've got a pair of jeans, and that is what we like to describe as a bros jacket.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's some good information there. Do you know what I am?
Annoying.
My pronoun is it and that. It's much easier. You see, you get through life so much easier. It and that. What's that? It's Mr. Duncan. Is it here yet? No, Mr. Duncan hasn't arrived yet. It and that. So there we go. It just saves a lot of hassle.
Oh, that wig went down very well last night. Everybody liked it. My friends were highly amused by it because they kept telling me to take it off and we were making the joke that when I took it off, I looked 50. When I put it on, I looked 30. So they were making, which is why I was making this joke. When we were outside in the restaurant, for example, people were coming up to us and talking because we were obviously having a good time. And I was making the joke. They were talking about, where are you going? You're going to see this show. A lot of people in the restaurant we were at were going to see this show. And somebody commented that I looked a lot younger than everybody else. And I said, oh, guess which one's my mother? And because we're all actually the same age, so they got a bit offended. But it's all a laugh and a joke. That's all it is.
Yes. Although they did get offended.
Yes. Now, I'll stress again, I was not, I repeat, not cross-dressing. If you could see the rest of that photo, I had trousers on. That was just a jacket. And that top I'm wearing, that stripy top, is something that somebody lent to me to wear because it's supposed to be 1980s fancy dress. I say again, fancy dress, 1980s.
Wait there a second. So somebody lent it to you. Who?
Julie, my friend Julie.
So you are actually wearing women's clothes.
Technically.
What do you want to wear?
Technically, I was going to wear a T-shirt because I was going as Bros.
Yes, you keep saying that. No one knows what you're talking about when you say that. No one knows who Bros is.
BROS, is it? Or double S? It's a pop group from the 1980s.
You don't know how to spell the name of the group that you're dressed as.
Typified the look of the 1980s, which was shoulder pads on jackets.
Okay.
T-shirt under a jacket and ripped jeans.
Yes, and dressing like a lady.
Well, the clothes were. Well, let's face it, the pop music industry. Mm-hmm. A lot of people. I mean, rock groups, you've got men dressing in very feminine clothes. There's a lot of cross-dressing going on in the pop world, or there certainly used to be in the 1980s.
Rock groups?
Rock groups, yes,
I don't remember AC/DC or Led Zeppelin or Motorhead wearing women's clothing.
What about Bon Jovi and groups like that? Very heterosexual groups, but they used to often dressed in women's clothes.
Yes, but there is a difference, you see, because Bon Jovi is soft rock.
Soft rock.
See, that's soft rock. So it's slightly toned down, and the image is a little softer. And quite often you will find the lead singer often looks very androgynous. So
yes.
He looks in between maybe male and female. So, but that's a good look because then you attract twice as many people.
Yes.
So that's the reason why. So there is a slight difference. But in the early 1980s, let's not forget, in the early 1980s, a lot of people did wear makeup and very feminine clothing, men and women. So that's worth remembering. So that might be the reason why Steve is looking like a cross-dressing ladyboy.
Anna says that I look 10 years younger. Only 10?
Only 10.
And Jamila says, it's a shame he's got very little of his own hair now.
It looks like you're in transition.
It is a shame. Duncan. Glam rock, says Sukat. That's it, glam rock.
Well,
that's the phrase we're looking for.
I think that's more. No, I think that's more of a 70s thing.
No, I don't know. Glam rock. You like glam rock. There's a particular group that you like, quite popular group associated with sort of punk rock and glam rock.
Well, what?
What was that group called?
I don't know. There's millions of groups.
Yes, no, it was on the television the other night, Mr. Duncan. They were talking about the origins of punk rock, and
are you talking about the Sex Pistols?
There was another group that from America.
The New York Dolls.
The New York Dolls. There we go. Yes, they used to dress in an androgynous way.
Yes,
would say.
What's interesting about the New York Dolls is they are seen as one of the first real punk groups. So there were a lot of groups around in the early 1970s or mid-70s that were actually the forerunners or the creators of what was later known as punk rock. So yes, I think that's quite, yes, New York Dolls, although they weren't around for long, they only had a very short life. And then they split up for many years, and then they reformed in the early 2000s. But yes, I know what you mean. I can see where you're coming from there. But I think glam rock is more the 1970s. We think of groups like Slade. I'm sure no one knows who Slade is, but they were a very big group during the 1970s. But they were described as glam rock.
Pedro, no, it wasn't an LGBT club. It was just a restaurant that we all went to, which was close to the theatre. And there were just lots of people from... There were people in there. Most people get in there were going to see the show, so a lot of people were in fancy dress. So when you go to see a show here, which is a themed show, like a 1980s show or a 1970s show, people often will dress up in fancy dress to go and see the show, just because it adds a lot of atmosphere.
Yes.
And you will have a good time.
When we say fancy dress, we mean a costume.
A costume, that's right. So we were all dressing up, as I've said, in 1980s clothing that you would see on the pop scene.
I think Steve was dressed as Dusty Springfield.
So I just wanted to have a fun night, and it's fun to wear a wig when you're bald. So, you know, if I want to look different, if I'm going out, the obvious thing to do is to wear some silly cheap wig. That was only cost me £6. That it's just a fancy dress wig.
You definitely look different.
And you know, I don't want to go out looking. Wear a wig, you look different. It's just fun. It's just a fun night out with friends.
It's definitely different. Very different. Does your mum know? She'll be saying, she'll be on her knees next week at church saying an extra prayer just for you. Please save my son. I don't know what's happening to him. He's wearing ladies' clothes.
Luis Diamante, we normally do have more of a structure to our Sunday live streams.
Do we?
But I've been away, so we're just sort of chatting today. So please tune in next week when we may have a little bit more structure to the show.
Sorry, we've been doing this for nearly 3 years, the live streams. I've been on for 13 years, but we started the live streams 3 years ago. And I can't remember ever in that whole time as ever being constructed or sorted out or arranged. There is always a slight feeling of mayhem on our live streams.
Lilia makes a comment that she's very keen on futuristic music from the 1980s.
Yes.
And science fiction. Yes.
Synthesizers.
Synth music.
A lot
New
of
Order.
A lot of meow, 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 meow. That's the Human League, by
Human
the way.
League, New Order, lots of groups like that.
Shawaddy Waddy.
Shawaddy Waddy. They're not new. They're not synth music. That's not synth pop.
I can't believe I've just said that. I can't believe I've just said Shawaddy Waddy. Can you all go after the live stream has finished? Can you go in onto Wikipedia and look up Shawaddy Waddy, and you will be in for a real treat of wonderful 70s fashion.
Well, they were sort of taking off for 1950s sort of rock music, weren't they?
Well, it's like rockabilly, Teddy Boy, that sort of thing. But yeah, there we go. Pedro has sent a kiss for you, Steve.
Thank you, Pedro.
Isn't that nice? I don't know what's going on here. This is turning into something. This is turning into Grindr.
You'll. What was that? What's that? I've no idea. But yes, it's nice to just go out with friends and have a good night out. And they were laughing at me because I probably haven't been out on the town.
Okay.
If you say you're going out on the town, means you're going out to have a good time, a few drinks, maybe see a show, go to a club and dance. So I haven't probably done that for, I would say, 8 or 10 years. It's a long time.
It is.
A long time. And I really let my hair down last night. If you let your hair down, it means you just relax. I'm trying to, Lewis is accusing us of not teaching many words. So I'm trying to get the meaning of a word in on every sentence.
Yes, I just think it's the most unfortunate phrase that you could use is going out last night, letting your hair down. Oh dear.
I put my hair on.
Yes.
Rather than let it down.
Oh dear. Oh, this is fun. Isn't this great? It's always fun in the stream and you find lots of things. Thank you, Chris, for that. We haven't really talked much about the live chat today. The spontaneity of the live stream is the most important thing. I would agree with you there. Yes, I think you're right there. Lilia asked, do you still have vinyl? Yes, I do. I have just over here. You can't see it because it's off the screen, but there is a record player that plays vinyl. Can you believe it? It's like something from the 1920s. It's like something from the last century, which actually it is. It is from the last century. Ah, dear.
Tomek mentions Depeche Mode. Oh, one of my favourite groups as well.
Yes.
And
yeah, I think it's because Steve fancied the lead singer.
I don't know what you mean, Mr. Duncan. Yes, Antonia says, yes, go out and I'm usually quite formal, so it's nice to go out and just let your hair down.
Isn't it nice?
Have a good time.
Isn't it nice?
And just because you know, it just relaxes you. And I'm a very sociable person. I like to talk to people and communicate, and it's a stress relieving thing. It's important. Human beings, we need to socialise. I mean, obviously, Mr. Duncan doesn't.
No. I have a profound hatred of all human life on the planet. No,
Apart from anybody watching your live streams.
Not really. I'm just joking. Which is something I wanted to mention, Steve. I will put myself back on camera because I'm sure people don't want to see your face all day. So here I am. I'm back now with Steve by my side. It is Sunday afternoon, for those wondering. It is live English and it's 4:45 already. We are coming towards the end of today's live stream. I can't believe it.
We haven't talked about the black hole yet.
Yes. Steve, for some reason, seems very obsessed with black holes.
Somebody mentioned it right at the beginning of the live stream as I came on. I can't remember who it was. But yes, we have the first ever photograph of a black hole that was in the news this week.
I don't think it really is. I don't think it's really a black hole.
It's 1 million times bigger than the Earth, something like that. It's massive. And there is a theory that these black holes, which are collapsed stars or collapsed suns, I mean, I don't know very much about it, but they're very big suns or stars that eventually collapse under the pressure of the gravity because they're so massive, and they shrink down to these incredibly small blobs and then turn into black holes.
Blobs.
And then they suck in everything around them. The gravity becomes so strong that they suck in everything, including light. Even light can't escape from a black hole, which is why you can't see them, which is why they're called black holes.
Oh, dear.
I mean, we're seeing this black hole, but we're not actually seeing it. It's just the result of things going on around the outsiders. It's sucking in matter and gas that you can see it in that way, because it's. But I mean, it's incredible. They now think apparently that I mean, where it's sucking in all this matter. Whole solar systems and galaxies are being sucked into these black holes because nothing can escape the gravitational pull.
So basically,
where is it all going after that matter's being sucked in? Well, the theory that I heard now is that it's all this matter goes in, and then out the other side, a new universe is created that's expanding as well. So all that matter goes somewhere else into another universe. It's incredible. We don't understand anywhere near enough.
I got a little bit bored, though, because all these experts and all of these people who were congratulating themselves were saying there will now be two ages, the age before the photograph and the age after the photograph, which I thought was really pretentious and pompous, because as if everything was going to change. And of course it hasn't changed, because since the photograph has been published, everyone's still fighting, everyone's still squabbling, the world is still a bit of a mess, so no one really cares about a black hole 52 million billion trillion gazillion miles away.
Well, they thought that man landing on the moon in the 1960s would bring the world together, because we could see how small the Earth was from the moon, and that everyone would get on. It changed nothing, of course.
No.
Human nature is what it is. And this black hole will change nothing. I mean, the fact is, it's so far away, the light's taken millions of years to reach us, so it doesn't actually look like that now anyway. I mean, it might not even be there now. We've got to wait. How many million light years was it away?
52.
52. So it's taken light at 186,000 miles per second.
Yeah.
It's taken 52 million years for the light from that black hole to reach us. So we're looking at it as it was 52 million years ago. What does it look like? If you were to go there now, it might have gone. I'd not even be there now.
You sound like an expert on black holes.
Well, I know a little bit. You know, everybody knows a little bit. That's one thing about me. I know a lot. I know a little bit about a lot of subjects, but not very much about any subject in any great depth.
Shouldn't that be you know a little about everything?
What did I say?
I don't know. It didn't make much sense.
I've got a bit of general knowledge.
You didn't take drugs last night, did you?
No, I did not take drugs, Mr. Duncan. How dare you accuse me of that?
You didn't push anything into your ear?
To what are you referring, Mr. Duncan?
You didn't see any black holes last night?
No. Don't be so disgusting, Mr. Duncan.
I'm not being disgusting. No, you're being disgusting, thinking that it's disgusting.
Just had a great time. I had probably drunk more alcohol than I have done in many years.
Oh, okay.
But still not enough to be ill. Probably had about 4 separate alcoholic drinks.
Alcohol is a drug.
Yes, but I didn't. You're referring to cocaine or marijuana or something like that, which of course I would never partake in. And nor would my friends, because we're all very sensible 50-year-olds.
50? Sorry?
Something.
Sorry?
50-something.
Steve's believing what people tell him. You're believing that you're 50.
Well, last night I was led to believe that I looked in my 30s.
Oh, here's another one. So this is the whole crowd from last night. Wow.
There we are. Yes.
Can you imagine being in a theatre? You've just spent about £30 on a ticket. Can you imagine you going out for a night out with your friends? I'm going to turn Steve down because he keeps laughing all over me. Can you imagine going out and you think, let's have a nice night out at the theatre. Let's go out now tonight, go see a show and have a great time. And then you get your tickets. And then you go into the theatre and you think, wonder where our seat is. I wonder where the seat is. And then you go to the right seat and then you look next to your seat and you see these people. You see this crowd of people staring back at you.
So you can see they were all in fancy dress.
Yeah. But I feel sorry for anyone that had to sit next to you last night.
Oh, well, no, everyone was in can anyone actually hear me? Have you turned the microphone back up?
People they can hear you. Whether they're listening is another thing.
Yeah, so they were all, everyone was having a good time. I would say half the audience were in fancy dress.
Costumes.
In costumes, shall we say, yes. And so yeah, it was just a great night. But I think we've spoken enough about that, really, Mr. Duncan.
Okay.
Lena makes an interesting comment here. Lena says, "Do we know about Cosmonautics Day on the 12th of April?" We don't, but we do now that you've told us. So is that in Russia when you celebrate your astronauts? Or cosmonauts, as you obviously call them there. Is that what that is, Lena?
What's the difference?
Well, in Russia, they are called cosmonauts, people who go into space. And in America, they're called astronauts.
Yes. So, so like Cosmo is like the cosmos.
I presume it is, yes.
So cosmonaut derives from cosmos, and astronaut derives from...
Yes, Mr. Duncan, go on.
Astrological?
Astronomy, presumably.
Is it their star sign? So depending on your star sign. Well, I'm a Gemini, and I'm going to go into space in April. Well, I'm a Leo, so that must mean that I'm going into space during August. So is that it? Is that why they call them astronauts? Because they're into astrology.
I think it's connected with astronomy, not astrology.
Oh, I see. Astronomy.
So, Lena, can you just confirm if that is a celebration of cosmonauts in Russia on the 12th of April?
I wonder what you do on that day.
Celebrate the magnificent achievements of the heroes. I would think that they would be seen as heroes in Russia because... You
mean Yuri Gagarin?
Yes, but because it's amazing that I've always thought the Russian rocket system is a very successful... The what they've got there is that the way that they take off and land, it's a very different system than America has for launching rockets and launching men into space.
Well, the US doesn't have one now.
I know, but it's got a very, very successful track record of safety. Something went wrong with one I think it was earlier this year or last year, but the cosmonauts still survived. Whereas if an American system goes up, as we know, there have been some disasters with the Challenger programs. There's no way you can rescue. If something goes wrong, you can't rescue them. They just die. Whereas something goes wrong, which is very rare with the system that they have in Russia. But the astronauts survived.
Okay.
Cosmonauts, I should say.
Yes.
Because they've got a very successful method of launching people into space and recovering them, and they don't splash into the sea. They come down and land, and they're on the land. I think it's an amazing.
It's all about where you splash.
On the 12th of April, people all over the world celebrate Yuri Gagarin Night in remembrance of Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space.
Who was the first British person in space?
I don't know.
Tim Peake.
Pedro wants to see more of my personal life. I mean, your bedroom and personal belongings. I think we might not do that.
Yes.
Maybe we can do that on a private chat, Pedro.
Sorry? What's going on? Are you sure you two aren't meeting up on Grindr?
Stanislaw wants to know, or has asked, do we know something about Palm Sunday? Well, very much we do, because that was when we were brought up as children in this country, in the UK. Palm Sunday, Easter, very much something that we were taught about a lot and would celebrate. Yes.
Okay.
And Palmyra says, middle-aged women around Mr. Steve. in that picture. Yes, I think they would take that as a compliment, actually, to be described as middle-aged. But yes, they are. Whereas I, of course, can you believe I'm the same age as all those ladies? No, I know you can't. But I am, in fact, older than most of them.
And you're also wearing their clothes.
Yes, exactly. Lily is off.
Oh.
Bye-bye. Almost time to go, says Jeff.
Almost time. People sound almost pleased. It's almost time to go. Oh, thank goodness for that.
A lot of people saying they've had fun today, so thank you for that.
It's been interesting.
Helen Sharman was the first British astronaut, says Mr. Bruno. She was on the Mir space station. Again, look how successful the Mir Russian space station has been. It's been up there all those years. Actually, no, is it still there? Has it crashed to Earth now?
What's still there?
Mir.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's crashed back to Earth. It burnt up in the Earth's atmosphere and turned into a tiny little pebble.
But it stayed up longer than the American one did.
What? The American space station? Where? I don't remember an American.
I think there was one, wasn't there?
Was there?
I think there was one.
Are you sure?
I think there was one. Yes, I think it's yes. You see, you've forgotten about it because it wasn't very successful.
I don't remember an American space station.
I think there was one. Yes.
Are you sure you're not confusing that with Star Wars?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think you might be getting confused there between space station and the.
We've got some hot crust buns waiting for us, haven't we, Mr. Duncan?
I think that was the Death Star in Star. Did you see the new trailer for the new Star Wars film? Yes, it's that time of year again. Yes, it's as we all get ready and hyped up, ready for another ultimately disappointing Star Wars film. Oh dear. And apparently Disney last week, Steve, they've announced that they're not going to make any more Disney Star Wars films. I think they've finally got the message that people don't like their...
We've had enough.
We've had enough. Yes. You can have too much Star Wars.
We don't want all the backstories, do we, of all the characters, really?
Well, this one isn't a backstory. This is just continuing. The one that's coming out later this year. It's continuing, although sadly Princess Leia won't be in it because Carrie Fisher passed away, although they have got some footage that they threw on the floor that they've stuck in to the new Star Wars film. So there will be some shots of Carrie Fisher, but they're just outtakes from the previous film apparently.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno. Skylab was the first American space station.
Oh, yes, Skylab.
Yes, Skylab. 73 to 79.
Oh, yes, Skylab. Isn't Wikipedia a great thing? It seems like our viewers are really clever, but actually they're just looking it up on the internet.
Well, it's still... Well, that's what's so useful. Koto says, greetings from Argentina. Yes.
Okay.
Hello. Was that in your list of top 10? No, it wasn't, was it?
Argentina.
No, Brazil was the country from South America that was in your top 10 list of most viewed countries, wasn't it?
You know, if you want to get your country into the top 10, you have to tell all your friends to watch my live stream and watch my videos. That's how we do it, you see. So if you want your country to be in the top 10 next week, get your friends to watch, tell them all about it. You can even click the hashtag. So if you look underneath the video today, in the title, there is something different happening. There is actually the hashtag for Mr. Duncan. So all you have to do is click on that, and then all my videos will magically appear on your screen. And you can spend the rest of the weekend watching all my English video lessons. Please do that, please. Or else I'll be sleeping in a shop doorway this time next week. So, Steve, are you going?
I'm going. Julie wants another cooking video from us.
Yes.
Maybe we will. We'll think of something else. I went out last night and the restaurant we went to last night was Sri Lankan.
Okay.
A Sri Lankan restaurant. The food was delicious. It was, I would say, quite close to Caribbean food in its nature, would be my impression, but it was absolutely delicious. So there we go.
Oh, great. That's added another...
Throw that in.
That's added another 48 seconds to the live stream. I'm sure we will...
I'm yawning. I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep last night, Mr. Duncan.
No, nor did I. Do you know why I didn't get any sleep last night?
It's because I wasn't here.
I was awake all night. I was turning, I was moving my legs around, and I was tossing. I couldn't stop.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you next Sunday.
Bye, Steve. There
Bye.
goes Mr. Steve. Steve has gone. He's left the room, and now he's going to make a lovely cup of tea just for me, and a hot cross bun as well. We'll see you next week. It's Easter next week, but we will be here just the same. Thank you very much for your messages today. Lots of people on the live chat. Still, I think it was good, this live stream. It is like a party. We talk about everything and we laugh a lot. I hope so. Even though we got a little heavy. We got a little too serious with some of the topics today, for which I apologise. Thank you, Koto. Thank you, Martha, Julie, Louise, Guadalupe. And also thanks to everyone else who has watched today. It's time now to say goodbye, 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 goodbye. Catch you next week. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thank you very much for watching me today. We will be back next week. 2 p.m. UK time is when we are on. And of course, until the next time we meet here on YouTube, you know what's coming next. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ta-ta for now.